Chapter 2: Faith, Power, and Science. Galileo's 17th century battleground. The era in which Galileo lived was marked by significant transformations in the intellectual landscape of Europe. Known as the Scientific Renaissance, this period saw a resurgence of interest in the natural world, driven by a renewed commitment to empirical observation and experimentation. This era laid the groundwork for the scientific revolution in the 17th century, fundamentally altering humanity's understanding of the universe. Understanding Galileo's life and work requires a grasp of the broader societal context of the 17th century. This was a time of profound social, political, and religious upheaval. Europe was fragmented by wars, power struggles, and religious conflicts, most notably the 30 Years' War, 1618-1648, which devastated large parts of the continent. The 17th century was characterized by rigid social hierarchies. Concepts of individual rights and freedoms, as understood today, were virtually non-existent. Society was organized into strict classes, and one's status was often visibly marked by specific clothing mandated by laws. Freedom of speech was unthinkable, and dissenting voices were frequently suppressed. The Catholic Church wielded immense power, both spiritually and politically. It was a central institution in European life, influencing education, politics, and daily practices. The Church's teachings were considered infallible, and any challenge to its authority was met with severe consequences. The Church's endorsement of the geocentric model was not just a scientific stance, but a doctrinal one, deeply intertwined with its interpretation of Scripture. The 17th century was also a period of intense political pressure for the Roman Catholic Church. The Protestant Reformation had resulted in significant losses for the Church in Scotland, England, Holland, northern Germany, and large parts of Eastern Europe. Additionally, the Islamic Ottoman Empire posed a significant threat from the east. The Ottomans had captured Constantinople in 1453, marking the fall of the Byzantine Empire, and continued to press into European territories. For the Catholic Church, maintaining its authority and perceived infallibility was crucial in holding together a fragmented and threatened Christendom. The Church saw itself as a bulwark against the twin threats of Protestantism and Islam. Any challenge to its authority, whether theological, political, or scientific, was perceived as a threat to the stability and unity of Europe. The Inquisition was employed to maintain doctrinal purity and suppress dissent, deemed necessary to withstand both internal and external threats. There were no dedicated departments for scientific research as seen in modern universities. Instead, natural philosophy, which included the study of astronomy, was part of the broader fields of philosophy and theology. This integration meant that scientific inquiry was often subject to theological scrutiny. Philosophers and scientists of the time, including Galileo, were expected to align their findings with accepted religious teachings. Galileo's heliocentric model was not easy to comprehend for the general populace. Observing the night sky without modern instruments and relying solely on philosophical reasoning, people found it difficult to grasp the concept of the Earth orbiting the Sun. This was further complicated by the lack of a dedicated scientific discipline based on methodical, experimental evidence. The idea that the Earth was not the center of the universe was revolutionary and counterintuitive, challenging nearly 2,000 years of established thought. One of the pivotal developments of the scientific Renaissance was the revival of the heliocentric model of the universe. Proposed by Nicholas Copernicus in his 1543 work, De Revolutionibus Orbium Caelestium, on the revolutions of the celestial spheres, the heliocentric model posited that the Sun, rather than the Earth, was at the center of the universe. This theory stood in stark contrast to the geocentric model, which had been widely accepted since antiquity and was endorsed by the Catholic Church. Copernicus's heliocentric theory was revolutionary, but it faced significant resistance. The geocentric model, supported by the works of Aristotle and Ptolemy, was deeply entrenched in both scientific thought and religious doctrine. The shift from a geocentric to a heliocentric understanding of the cosmos required not only new scientific evidence, but also a radical change in the way people viewed the universe and humanity's place within it. Galileo Galilei played a crucial role in advancing the heliocentric model through his observations and writings. Armed with his improved telescope, Galileo made several key discoveries that provided empirical support for Copernicus's theory. In 1610, he published Sidereus Nuncius, Starry Messenger, detailing his observations of the moon's surface, the phases of Venus, the moons of Jupiter, and sunspots. These discoveries challenged the prevailing geocentric model and offered compelling evidence for a heliocentric universe. Galileo observed that Venus exhibited a full set of phases similar to those of the Moon. This observation was inconsistent with the Ptolemaic system, which could not account for the observed phases if Venus orbited the Earth. Instead, it supported the Copernican model, where Venus orbited the Sun. The discovery of 4 moons orbiting Jupiter, now known as the Galilean moons, provided further evidence against the geocentric model. This observation demonstrated that not all celestial bodies orbited the Earth, challenging the idea that the Earth was the center of all celestial motion. Galileo's detailed observations of the moon's surface revealed mountains and craters, contradicting the Aristotelian view that celestial bodies were perfect and unchanging. This finding suggested that the heavens were not fundamentally different from the Earth, challenging long-held philosophical and theological beliefs. By documenting sunspots, Galileo showed that the Sun was not a perfect, unblemished sphere, as previously believed. This observation further undermined the Aristotelian notion of unchanging, perfect heavenly bodies. Galileo's advocacy for the heliocentric model was not solely based on his observations. He was also skilled in presenting his arguments persuasively. In his Dialogue Concerning the Two Chief World Systems, published in 1632, Galileo compared the Copernican system with the Ptolemaic system through a fictional dialogue between 3 characters: Salviati, representing Galileo's views; Sagredo, an impartial observer; and Simplicio, a proponent of the Ptolemaic model. This work was written in Italian rather than Latin, making it accessible to a broader audience and increasing its impact. However, Galileo's strong advocacy and confrontational style also generated significant opposition. Many of his contemporaries, particularly within the Catholic Church, viewed his findings and methods with suspicion. The Church had long supported the geocentric model, which was seen as compatible with certain scriptural passages. Galileo's heliocentric advocacy was perceived as a challenge not only to scientific orthodoxy, but also to religious doctrine. Galileo's first major conflict with the Church began in 1616, when he was formally warned by the Inquisition to abandon the heliocentric model. Cardinal Robert Bellarmine, one of the most respected theologians of the time, delivered the admonition. Bellarmine acknowledged that the heliocentric model could be considered a useful hypothesis, but insisted that it should not be taught as truth until it was conclusively proven. Galileo was instructed to refrain from holding, teaching, or defending heliocentric ideas. Despite this warning, Galileo continued his research and correspondence, believing that further empirical evidence would eventually vindicate his views. His decision to publish the Dialogue in 1632, despite the previous injunctions, was a bold move that ultimately led to his trial and condemnation. Galileo's contributions to the heliocentric model were groundbreaking and played a pivotal role in the advancement of modern astronomy. His observations and writings provided compelling evidence for the Copernican theory, challenging centuries-old beliefs and laying the groundwork for future scientific discoveries. However, his advocacy also brought him into direct conflict with the Catholic Church, highlighting the tensions between emerging scientific knowledge and established religious doctrines. Galileo's story is a testament to the power of empirical evidence and the enduring struggle between new ideas and traditional authority. His work not only advanced our understanding of the cosmos, but also exemplified the courage and determination required to challenge entrenched beliefs and seek the truth.